course, going to be speaking to activist Mr. Ravi Maharaj.
Yes, fine.
Hi, good evening, sir. You are on here. Good evening. I want to thank you so much for taking time out to linking with us here on The Observer. It's always a pleasure to hear from you.
Sure.
Yeah. I want to read something here that you sent out. I don't know if it was one of the dailies, but you wrote here, in an act that reeks of total desperation, the Prime Minister of this country has gone crawling to the leader of the opposition on his hands and knees, begging for a solution to the crime waves that he and the PNM government created for the past 8 years. There has never been an act more pathetic than for a Prime Minister to admit that not only has he been a complete and total failure in his leadership of the cabinet and national security apparatus, but also that he's completely bereft of any idea of how to identify the problems, far less correct them. That said, this pitiful attempt to divert public pressure onto the opposition by pretending to offer an olive branch in a time of calamity is nothing more than a smokescreen that Keith Rowley hopes will divert attention away from his own role in this catastrophe. Very, very powerful. What do you say to people who are basically going to weigh in and say, look, listen, this is about saving the country. This is about having that social political maturity where two leaders can sit down and have these talks. And at the end of it all, something comes out of it that is going to deal with this crime situation. People will answer in such a manner. What do you say to that? It doesn't go hand in hand with what basically is laid out in your letter.
No, well, first, good night to all your viewers and listeners. Good night to you as well.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you, for the past 8 years, the opposition UNC has tried and failed to advise the government on what they can do to fight crime, to manage the economy, to provide proper health care, housing, all of these things. The opposition has been advising them through the parliament, through the public platforms, and even through the courts when, occasional call for us to go to court in order to correct the mistakes of the PNM government. Because they're too stubborn and they're too hard-headed to realize when they're making a mistake, and they need someone with more authority, such as in the courts, to instruct them to do the right thing. They have ignored everyone, and it's not just the opposition. They've ignored civil authorities, they've ignored academic institutions. Everyone has been advising the government of what needs to be done to curb this crime epidemic, right? To prevent poverty, to rectify the issues in the economy. There was advice given in how to handle petrotrin and Nikon. We see now they are admitting that the Nikon experiment is a complete and total failure, right? So the government has never been short of people trying to advise them on how to do the correct things. But the Prime Minister especially has ignored every piece of advice he's gotten, and only now, because there's been such an outpouring of public outcry regarding the crime situation, and because it's gotten to an extent where it's completely beyond his control, he's now trying to say, okay, look, we're ready to listen to the opposition. Only a few months ago, the leader of the opposition was making a plea that at least give law-abiding citizens firearm user licenses, so that in the event that someone tries to break into your home and armed with weapons, you will have a way to defend yourself, because the police are incapable of doing it, right? The Prime Minister said that she's trying to instigate a race war, this is racially motivated and all these things. And you think about it, I'm sure that will be one of his suggestions in these upcoming meetings. And I want to see what his reaction is going to be done. Will it be the same? And if it is the same, then what are the points of these talks? Because, again, you are going there with recommendations, and, it's out of the goodness of her heart that she's planning to go to him with these things. But he will only go and do whatever he wants. And like I said, it's just a smokescreen.
And that's the point here. You said that nothing more than a smokescreen that Keith Rowley hopes will divert attention away. And again, basically perhaps away from the crime, away from the Forex situation, away from Naquan. Because let's look at it here for what it really is. In all honesty, I think in anyone's action, you would know exactly how sincere they are, how serious they are, okay? We were told, and I keep bringing this up because I want people to understand that there are things in life that you simply do not play with. And especially when you're a leader, much is expected from you. We were told that Fitzgerald Hines was sent to Fairfax County in Virginia. Now, we were told that on the campaign trail because Fairfax County in Virginia has the same situation, same problems, same size population. However, they employ less police officers and they are able to curb crime and manage their situation. We were told that. And then we were told that again upon taking office at the opening of the new St. Joseph police station. Now, when someone tells you these things, you would think that with all sincerity, crime is going to be a priority. They are serious about it. A man has been sent to North America. He's coming back with a report because Mr. Hines, however, was not the first choice for National Security Minister. We know he got there from wherever, whatever, in public utilities, what have you. Fine. Here's where he is. He's here now. That ship has basically sailed. I mean, are we to trust anything? So when people say that it is a smokescreen, there's justification like people like yourself and other political analysts who are weighing in and saying, this is not serious, it is not sincere, and if that be the case, what are we looking at? Are we just going to be observers of an exercise in futility, and at the end of the day we're going to hear that we have gone past 500 or 600 murders for 2023? Then where do we go from here?
And if you look at the way that this entire thing came about, it was only after the president made a public announcement, or she was giving a speech at the opening of Parliament, and she said it would be nice if the opposition and the government were able to collaborate on talks and, have discussions and therefore get legislation passed in the Parliament, right? And even then, he still wasn't willing to have the talks. It was during a press conference that he was giving, and he was pressured by the media again on what the president had said, that he finally relented and said, okay, fine, if everybody wants us to talk to the opposition, we will talk to the opposition. And he sent a two-page letter saying basically, come with your recommendations and we will have a discussion. What kind of thing is that? At least say, look, these are the things that we are going to put on the legislative agenda for the upcoming year or for the next 2 years. These are the plans that we have that we're working towards solving the crime problem. Please come and meet with us. We can sit down, we can discuss it, and we can take, and you can bring your recommendations as well. But we have a plan, we have a legislative agenda, and these are the things that we are hoping to do, and we are asking for your advice to them. That would have been a better approach. But instead he says, Reagan, your recommendations, send it to us. We will look at it and then we will make our recommendations and we can have a meeting. That is nonsense, and it shows that they are not serious about these talks, and absolutely nothing can be expected to come out of it in regards to how the administration handle the affairs going forward.
And that's unfortunate. You also have an interpretation application before the courts to determine whether or not proper procedures were followed in the extension of Commissioner of Police Earl Haywood Christopher. Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, you remember that at the end of Gary Griffith's term as Commissioner of Police, the Prime Minister not got involved. He made himself involved in the process, in the selection process. And, he went to the president's house and he used his office to kind of disrupt the entire thing. We took the matter to court. And in that ruling, it said that when it comes to the selection of a commissioner of police, the legislative is clear in the procedures that need to be followed, and it needs to be followed exactly as it's set out in the legislation every single time a new person comes into that office. So imagine our shock when just 2 years later, commissioner who well, not sitting, but stint in the police service comes on and she needs to resign. And then they go through the extension process without going through back the entire selection process that the court just ruled and told them, look, this thing needs to be followed to the letter. Right? So this is the second time that we are having to go to court for the exact same matter. We expect the ruling to be similar to the one that we got in the Guy Griffiths affair. Because, again, the government, unless you hold their hand and you tell them, look, this is what you have to do, and you direct them and tell them exactly what they have to do, they will do what they want. Whether who advises them or who tells them any different, they will continue to do what they want for as long as they want. And this cannot be allowed.
And as you say, you don't expect, and like many people, don't expect anything to come out of this as far as recommendation. But you said there's only two things left for the Prime Minister to do. And one is to fire the Minister of National Security and then call a general election and allow the people the ability to elect a government that would be able to deal with the situation correctly.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, when you look at the way that the crime is progressing in Trinidad and Tobago, right? I mean, we have a police service there. This police service has been operating since we got our independence, and even before that, right? Whenever there has been an administration as not PNF running the affairs of the country, we have seen as drastic decrease in crime. We only see an increase whenever there's a PNM government in place. And the reason for that is because the measures that the PNM put in place while they are there allows crime to run rampant in this country. They are creating a society where crime is the only thing that is profitable for anybody in this country, and they are creating opportunities for more criminals to creep into this society. What we need, therefore, if you are going to have any control over the crime and decrease the crime rate in Trinidad and Tobago, is you need to get rid of the KNM, because they are preventing the police from operating the way they're supposed to. They are preventing the judiciary from functioning the way that it's supposed to. And they are preventing the office of the DPP from performing the way that they're supposed to. They are preventing all of these crime bodies, these crime prevention bodies, from operating in a way that would be effective and would allow the country to regain some sense of control and take back control from
but based on what you're saying, I mean, you're saying that the organs of all of these bodies are simply being hindered to go out there, to perform their duties. Then basically it means that all of us as citizens are just simply sitting ducks.
Absolutely. And you see that on a daily basis. You just have to turn on the news and you get, look, this morning a 1-year-old baby was caught up in a shooting spree and had to be rushed to the hospital. Thank God the child survived. But a 1-year-old child was shot today. Like, this is madness.
Yeah, and you're right. And I think we've reached a point where we simply brush it off because we somehow believe that we've seen it all. I mean, and anything else that gives us a sort of a raised eyebrow reaction, we just can't believe it. We shake our heads. But in all reality, this is what's happening to our country. This is where we're at. Those on the outside looking in are simply saying that, you know, what has happened to Trinidad and Tobago? I mean, you look at the economy, you look at infrastructure, and all of these things combined, and it makes you wonder what is happening to Trinidad and Tobago. And any closing comments? I mean, as, you know, encouraging, if anything at all?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only thing encouraging is we got a slightly better look at how the population sees the government in the recent local government election. We see that the popular vote has swung away from the PNM, and we expect that in a general election it will go away from them as well. Hopefully, if we can get a new government to come in and correct the mistakes that they have been making, there can be hope for this country. But there will be no hope as long as the PNM remains in power, because they are the ones that are destroying the ambits of every institution, whether it's a governmental institution, whether it is an independent independent institution. They are destroying everything for their own benefit and for the benefit of those who support the party. We cannot allow this to continue, and we only hope that a general election can be called soon to correct all of this situation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Maharaj, and best of luck to you and your entire team, and keep up the good work. We will be speaking to you again in the near future. Thank you so much.
Sure, and thanks for having me again.
That's all good.